and then work with their team and industry mentors using the engineer design process to establish a solution. Students document their work in the Innovation Portal. The Innovation Portal is not unique to PLTW. Mark will share more of the history in a moment. Any student can use the Innovation Portal for any project. The value is that the Innovation Portal provides a step-by-step documentation process that facilitates a design solution, and that brings your expertise to the table. I want to personally thank you for volunteering to be a judge in our competition for high school students across the state of Wisconsin. And I welcome those of you who are my connections that are outside of Wisconsin. The competition is open to all biomedical, innovation, and engineering design and development students in the state of Wisconsin who are currently enrolled in one of our capstone courses. The impetus behind this competition is to give students the opportunity to move yet another high school project from a box in the attic to an opportunity to have their work reviewed by a panel of experts, you, and the possibility of having a feasibility study completed on their portfolio to determine the marketability of their design solution. This competition has been generously financed by Rockwell Automation and supported by the Small Business Development Center and Wisconsin Innovation Service Center housed at UW-Whitewater under the leadership of Mr. Ronald Bud Gayhart. Milwaukee School of Engineering has provided time in my schedule to orchestrate the administrative support needed to offer such a competition to our PLTW network. This year we have over 190 students registered representing 20 schools. That translates into the potential of 70 portfolios if all registered teams submit. I currently have 47 judges. For your information, today's session will be recorded and made available on YouTube for future reference. With us today is Mr. Mark Schroll from the Project Lead the Way National Office. Mark has been very active in developing the Innovation Portal and can offer us some insight into the history. He will then walk us through the scoring rubric which is embedded in the Innovation Portal where students have submitted their portfolios. If you have a second screen, you may want to have the GoToMeeting on one screen and the practice portfolio on the second screen. Then you can navigate as Mark goes through the steps. The judging window is June 15th through July 15th. I would ask that you judge the portfolios based on how well the team has completed the elements of the rubric, not on the idea or problem. How well students can document the design process of their problem solution is what I am asking you to judge. Connected to your evaluation of how well a team has documented their work is scholarship money, as well as the opportunity for a feasibility study by the Wisconsin Innovation Center. The competition is based on documentation, not idea. This reflects how well the student team understands the documentation process. Upon completion of your work, I will tabulate the results and personally contact the top teams. This year we will be recognizing our winners at a special ceremony in August. The date and details are currently being defined. I will be sharing the top teams as well as an invitation to each of you to share this special celebration with our top team. Mark and I are also going to make available the top 10 portfolios to you once the competition has completed, so that you will be able to review just like you would if you were at a science fair where you could go around and look at the top 10. Again, thank you for volunteering your time. So without further ado, let me turn control over to Mr. Mark Schroll.
Thank you, Pat. Oops, sorry.
Well, that was fun. Sorry, everyone. Are you all able to hear me okay, and to also see the screen?
Well, I can hear you, but as I told you, my link will not open. So I'm just sitting here listening, and will take in as much as I can, given the paper stuff I have in front of me that Pat graciously supplied a while back.
Okay, and the video, the YouTube video link later will also help greatly. The plan that I have for all of you in the judges training is pretty straightforward. It is to, as Pat said, give a brief introduction to the Innovation Portal, to make sure that you are all have the resources you need as judges, including my help if you haven't already connected your own Innovation Portal account to Pat's competition account, so she can distribute portfolios to you. And then on the screen at the moment, if you kind of look through the agenda, I've set myself up as a judge for a competition online, and we'll walk through the steps of the interface. To give a visual, Pat alluded to the fact that this is very much like on the order of judging a science fair, where today's session takes the place of meeting in a room at a school outside the gymnasium, where you are getting your clipboard, and then will soon be handed your grading documents, if you would, and assignments to run out into the gymnasium and find your projects that you have been assigned to and to grade, and then to bring the sheets back and give them to Pat. The only difference is that we put all that online, and my goal for all of you today is to see the interface of how do I access the portfolios that have been assigned to me as a judge, how do I access the rubric, the grading structure, both online, and as you've heard before, we're sending you the PDF document of those if you prefer a printed version. How do I access the online scoring sheet, if you would, and how do I enter my scores and review my work and then submit them to Pat? So I'll be demonstrating all that. The first order of business is, if you haven't already, is above. I put kind of a blue line there on the screen to separate the two things. The first order of business, many of you may already have done, so if you have, please forgive me. That is to make sure that you have your own Innovation Portal account, and then once you have that account, to connect it with the competition. Pat and I refer to this as connecting buckets. The large bucket being where the students will be submitting all of their portfolios, the potential for 70, as you heard earlier, and then the smaller buckets being your individual accounts, so that the system can randomly pick and disseminate the portfolios to all of you. One note here is, if you can access your work at any time as a judge, we've set this up specifically to give judges as much leeway and leisure time to be able to grade at will. So if you get called away in the middle of grading a portfolio or in the middle of a sentence, it's not a problem if you shut your computer down. And then if you have to access it from a different computer at a different location, you pick up right where you left off. There's no save button. The system saves automatically as you go. So I wanted that in the back of your head. The only issue we've ever had technologically has been with the browsers. The programmers have built a system. Once you log into the Innovation Portal, if a yellow bar appears at the top, there'll be a message in it saying, it appears your browser is several years old. The Innovation Portal utilizes a lot of HTML5 kind of technology and a lot of other programming that is works incredibly well on browsers in the last few years, but beyond that, you'd have to update your browser. It's a very simple thing to do if you haven't done it, but there is a system in the Innovation Portal just to give you a warning that, hey, things might not work well for you because the browser appears to be old, and then it leads you, whether you're using Safari on a Macintosh, Firefox, Chrome, whatever, it will lead you to where you can update those files.
I can't log into it. Each time it had said that they would send me an email, which I never received, in my spam, in my junk, anywhere. And also it says now my user account is disabled.
Okay, that I can help you with. Is there, just on a side note, is there a chance that you are using a company email or a business email service?
But it's .org. There's a .org on it. Does it matter?
Well, .org wouldn't matter at all. So I will help you. We'll do one-on-one and figure that out. Oftentimes, we have this from time to time with certain businesses. The automated email from our system is seen as like a piece of advertising, and it is either totally ignored by the filters in your system, or it is thrown away. So there's a couple ways around that. One, to use something like Gmail or something, or we can just get it whitelisted. Both are very easy fixes. Whitelisted means your IP team saying, hey, would you just make it okay for me to receive emails from the innovation portal, and it takes 2 seconds for them to do that.
I mean, it's not an IT team. It's just me with a web host. So we can always talk later.
Absolutely. I will get you connected. It has happened before. All right. So relative to the browser issue, if you do see that yellow bar, I just want to take note of that. Just follow the instructions and update your browser wherever you happen to be. Then the next step is, if you haven't done this with Pat already, I'm going to jump forward to the next screen, is to essentially connect your bucket. So the first thing, we have one issue we'll solve, and I promise to do so, is to get you all registered on the Innovation Portal or get your own account. So that involves going to the Innovation Portal, filling out the form. The Air Force Academy, who used it, reported back that their cadets were, I don't know how many they had, but they averaged 3 minutes and 12 seconds in terms of registering, which we thought was hilarious because we didn't ask for that information. They just wanted to report it to us, so they're very efficient at the Air Force Academy. But it takes only a few minutes, and then the system sends you an email, and all except that most of the times it works. It sends you an email, and then you make sure you're not a robot and things like that. So you click on the link inside your email, and then you're taken to the place where you can create your own password, and then you have an account. Once you do that, and we'll take a look at the screen, once you create your account, then number one there, the next piece of business is many of us have several emails. So whatever email you used to create that account, that's what Pat would need from you if you haven't done this already. I just email her and say, hey, got an account, here's the email I used, and Pat will in turn take a copy and paste your email right into the system that the competition administrator's dashboard that we've given her. And the system will generate an invitation to join her competition, or to connect the two buckets, to connect the two accounts in the background. And then once you'll get a second email from us, and once you accept, then you're connected, like connecting the buckets. So if you've done that already, again, forgive me. If you've had issues, we will fix them for you today. And if you haven't done that already, Pat would need that from you in order to get everything in place. On the screen at the moment is an animation that I wanted you all to kind of have as before we jumped into the interface, just to show you kind of what's going on. I would imagine you assume this, but there's a couple points for judges that I certainly wanted to highlight. Number one is the rubric that we're about to share with you, or that has been shared with you already through email as an attachment, but that's also embedded in the system. That rubric, word for word, has been in front of every student since day one, and that's important as a judge. That's the way rubrics are supposed to work, where we give them to the kids up front saying, this is what you'll be judged on, and then we keep our word and use that same rubric to judge the work at the end. So that's important as a judge, that the rubrics, and also I'll mention some reflective questions derived from that rubric that are put in front of the students, as well as a variety of scored examples, have all been available to the students and the teachers who are entering this competition from the minute they started their projects. So that's an important thing for judges to know. So in the depiction on the screen, that's the students over on the side building portfolios. All of the online portfolios, if you'll picture a 3-ring binder sitting in front of you, or a couple of them on your desk, All the structure of the innovation portal, the interface I'm going to show you, makes judging possible, comparing and contrasting, even though the students aren't in the same class, because they're asked to put the information that pertains to this particular piece of this part of the rubric in this section. So it'll be the same for every portfolio. You look for the same thing in the same section each time, which makes it nice to compare and contrast work. So you don't have to go hunting for what the rubric is looking for. The onus is on the students to put that where it's supposed to be for you as a judge. So the students have been doing that. They learned of this competition early on and have been registering their interest with Pat. And as you heard, there's close to 200 students, individuals that have said, I'm interested in the competition. Please put me on your list. I intend to be part of a team piece of work. And then they have been building their portfolios, and then starting on May 18th through June 7th, the submission window for them to submit portfolios is open. So as they get their portfolios just perfect relative to that rubric, they're allowed to submit the portfolios to Pat and all of you. The system takes a copy of the portfolio at the moment they submitted it. So the students always retain the original. They can continue working on it. Many of them may be doing it now. But whatever it looked like at the moment they submitted, that's exactly how it will look for you. That includes videos and links and files, anything that they submitted in terms of artifacts to tell their story. So the portfolios would, when the students are ready, they will submit portfolios like the animation on the screen. And then on June 7th, late in the evening, a window will close, and then Pat will have her body of portfolios or submissions. Pat will review all that work, and then she has the power to tell the system to randomly choose and disseminate the portfolios, and that would look something like this. There all of you are on the right-hand side, the buckets meaning your individual accounts all connected. And then when she tells the system to distribute the portfolios, they will come to you something like this animation. The point to highlight here is that unlike the analogy to a science fair, you'll only see the portfolios that are submitted to you. You won't have to go hunting for them. They'll be right in front of you, and that's a good thing. It's a bad thing in that if we had a gymnasium where you could see the work, you certainly could run out and find the projects assigned to you, but then when you were done, you could kind of go out and look and see what the rest of the body of the work looked like. And Pat also mentioned that we understand that in this, it's good to be just looking at the 3 portfolios or 4 portfolios assigned to you, but it would be nice to see what the winners look like if you can't make the big culminating event in the fall. And so at the end of the competition, when all the scores are in, we'll go back into your account, and the intent is to put the top seeded winners. I don't know how many Pat had chosen, but we'll make sure they're there. But we'll put all the winners in there so you can kind of get a better look at what the entire structure of the competition looks like, or the field of competition. So that's all of you. And then also at this point in this animation, it's a good time to pause and offer 2 or 3 different models for judging. And if you see yourself in any of these models that I described, the system will support all of them. So one model is that some judges prefer to score an entire portfolio entirely, get it just perfect, and submit the scores to Pat. And then with those scores go right at the moment, she will just see that your portfolios are in progress, but if you submit it to her, they are locked in stone, meaning you can still see them, but you can't edit them. And we have some judges who prefer to go one after the other and then submit them as they go. Perfectly fine. Another model is to score an entire portfolio, but then leave it fluid. In other words, don't submit it to Pat yet. Just have the scores sitting in front of you, and then go on to your second and then your third portfolio, and then kind of go back and forth between the work, because that seems that in a lot of judging scenarios, that seems to help a lot, saying, oh, I saw something in the first portfolio, now that I'm on the third portfolio, I want to go back and look at it. So you can certainly do that, leave it fluid, and then when they're all the way you would like them, go back and submit each one right at the end. That system works as well. And we had a judge from last year in the session this morning, Emily. She said she offered a way, then I will share that with you, that worked well for her. Rather than, she liked the idea of leaving everything fluid, but what she did was do something more horizontally. You'll see that the portfolios are segmented into sections with letter names A through M. And she said I would go through and grade A for this portfolio, then A for this one, then A for this one, and go back and forth, and then solidify that that's the grade I wanted for A. And so she kind of graded all the portfolios in that fluid manner, rather horizontally. So if you're in there anywhere, the system will work for you in that fashion. Second to last slide here, just to reiterate the point, all the students, again, have been using the same structure and the same portfolio, the same templates, same rubrics, no matter where they're from. They connect with partners from any location, whether in the same room or another part of the state. They have been able to collaborate with their teacher who is using the same rubric, language of the rubric, saying, well, I think you're kind of at a 2 right here, and I would imagine judges would want to see these things to bring that score up to 4 or 5. And also the students have been connecting with mentors, and the mentors can see the work and feedback using the language of the rubric. And then students can enter competitions like this, the Wisconsin one, and if there is a national competition on the Innovation Portal, one nice part about this rubric that has been developed as part of a very large NSF study to capture the engineering design process at a collegiate level, actually, and extrapolate that down into even the 6th grade level, is that because the rubric exists and because of the research that has gone into it and the structure, students can enter any competition on the Innovation Portal. If they enter the Wisconsin one, they can also enter a national one as well, and judges will look at the same rubric and look at their work the same way. Very analogous to an author submitting their book to many different critics but not having to change the book each time. So that's possible. And then students can build as many portfolios as they want for as many classes or projects as they want. This is our last slide before I jump over to the demonstration. But on this slide, I just wanted to make note that we have you very definitely in mind. There are 4 resources that we have that we've either, some we may have sent to you, some we will be sending to you. One of them is the video of this training so that you can fast forward and, if you need to, and look at a part of interest. The other 3 are represented on this slide. One of them is off to the left. It is the pictorial. We'll be sending you a PDF version that is kind of a pictorial step-by-step guide on what I'll be showing you. It just shows you how to access your portfolios in the scoring sheet. Another one is the complete rubric, because we found that some judges prefer to have the printed version on their desk in front of them and then just access the portfolios online, and that's an easier method to go back and forth that way rather than access the rubric and all the resources on the screen. The one in the middle, the last one, is the reflective questions that I mentioned before. We'll be sending you a copy of those as well. And those questions were, I'll show you, but they're kind of a checklist, if you would, saying, here's what the rubric is asking. You're, as a student, addressing these bullet points, you're getting closer and closer to the 5, the highest score. So those are the resources that we are making available to you relative to this whole process. And as I switch from the PowerPoint over to the Innovation Portal Online to show you what the interface looks like and how you find all those parts, I'll just pause for a moment. And if any of you have questions, you can just interrupt me over. If you're muted, unmute yourself and just interrupt me over the audio, or you can type them in the chat window of the GoToMeeting as I do so, and I'll try to address any questions that may have come up. So please, if you have them, fire away. All right. Again, if you do, as I move over into the demonstration of the Innovation Portal, please feel free to interrupt me, and I will be glad to reiterate something or answer your questions. Okay, so once you're connected, the buckets analogy again, once you're all connected, after the students, if you go there now, all it will say is there's no portfolios for you to review. Until Pat pushes the magic button that disseminates everything, it will say that until the competition closes. So once you go to the innovation portal and log in, as I'm doing here, there's something I want to draw your attention to. When you go to the innovation portal and log in, the default page is not where a judge needs to be. Early on in this project, after talking to university professors, teachers, students, the whole bit, we found out that there was no need to create, or there was actually a request not to create a judge's account, a teacher's account, a student account, because we found out that many people play several roles. So there's just an account. So you have the same kind of account, the same interface that students do. You've just been connected as the judge. That's worth mentioning in this training because as soon as you log in, it takes you to, and I'm circling it on the moment, My Portfolios. It assumes you wanted to build and work on a portfolio because that's where most of the traffic of the innovation portal goes to immediately. If most of you are new to the innovation portal, we'll just say you have no portfolios and here's some resources to get started if you wanted to build one. Actually, where we want to go is I'm going to draw your attention over to the left-hand side here. It defaulted to My Portfolios, but we're going to jump down here to Opportunities. When I click on Opportunities, I'm going to draw your attention to this sentence right here that says Current and Past Opportunities, and it defaults to the current opportunities. These are the ones currently available to students, meaning they're open at the moment. The Wisconsin one is represented here because until June 7th, it's still an open competition. Students can submit. But I do want to make note that by the time judging rolls around, the Wisconsin Engineering Design Competition won't be present in the current list anymore. It will be actually past. We realized that this was a mistake on our designer's part. It's not very intuitive that you have to jump to past, but you will need to, and we'll do that here. So if I click on past, you see all of the competitions. There are 9 of them this year that have taken place. And as you scour the screen with your eyes, you can see that Kansas City they just finished their competition. Illinois finished their competition yesterday, so they're just a week ahead of you. All those judges, same kind of training, same structure. So the Wisconsin Innovation or the Wisconsin Engineering Design Competition will appear in here, and then you just click on it as I will do. But for the purposes of this training, I'm going to choose the NSF Prime Scoring Workshop here. I've made myself a judge of this. So if you'll just insert Wisconsin, so I'm going to click on that, and when I do, it jumps me into the posting of the competition. However, because you're a judge, you will have this horizontal menu bar that says View and Reviews. And if you zero in on the Reviews button, that's what we're after. Because you're connected, it knows who you are, and Pat will have disseminated all the portfolios to you. So I've clicked on the Reviews button. You'll see your name, as you see mine here. This tells me how many reviews are in my bucket, and I have quite a few. There are 48 in this one, but you will have obviously much fewer than that. Between 4 and 6, I believe, something like that. And it will be a fraction. So, well, you've completed 0 out of the 4 or 5 that you have. To access the portfolio, so we've gone out into the gymnasium in a sense and found the row that our portfolio is in. They'll all be listed right here, and I'm going to kind of scroll down. I would like to draw your attention to this word right here that says complete. This is actually a message to you as a judge saying that Pat has received your scores, and you are that entire portfolio, your work on that portfolio is done. The ones that say active means that you still have not gone through the formal submit process to Pat, meaning click the button saying, I'm absolutely sure these are my scores. I'll show you what that looks like. But I did want you to see that one way to know that you're done, if you would, is that if you were on this example, this lawnmower Kickstarter, the cracked iPhone screen, and the humidity issues on your lawn, if all of these said complete, 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 and that was your workload, then you as a judge, you know that all of your assignments are in, is a way to look at it that way. So I'm going to scroll down here and make everybody dizzy for a second. Pardon me. And we'll go down here. Okay, here's Enlighten Lock. So this one is listed as active. I'm going to pretend this is the portfolio I want to look at the moment. So I just click on the title, and it jumps me inside the portfolio. Again, the visual of having a 3-ring binder sitting in front of you closed is very accurate. This was the model we were asked to build around. So over on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the little tabs. If you, I'm going to mouse over those a little bit. There's A, B. These are little tabs. The portfolio, when you open it, defaults to the cover page. I'm just mousing over that one at the moment. There's nothing to grade on the cover page, very much like that plastic insert of a 3-ring binder portfolio, but typically students will put pictures of themselves, their school, some background about why they chose the project that they did. You can certainly access that information and use it. But it's the letters A through N that we're interested in right now. Some of these, I'm going to click on tab A, so I just clicked on it right there. And I know that it would be analogous to opening the portfolio, and you know that it's open because the letter A tab stays blue, as you can see. It also wrote the words presentation and justification of the problem, and the letter A right on the page. I have a wheel mouse on this end, and I'm just going to scroll up and down, and you can zoom in and zoom out and however adjust it to your screen size so you can read the work. But this is how you access what the students have submitted for you, and you can read that just by scrolling up and down or moving the scroll bar on the side. So like I mentioned earlier, that each one of these tabs, the students know that this is where they're supposed to put this information, and that's where a judge will look for it. So that's how you access the portfolios. I'd like to show you now how you access the rubric descriptors or the score descriptors right online. Again, you'll have a printed copy, but online, this is if you mouse over, just move the cursor over the letter, this little window pops up on the side. This is the same window the students have seen all year long, and it defaults to, if you see there's a 5 for very AP-like scores, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. This is not how you as a judge choose a grade. This is how you as a user, student, teacher, access the different verbiage around the rubrics. So it defaults to the highest score, which is a 5, and then as you step down through the rubric 4, 3, 2, I did that kind of quickly, but you'll see much of the wording some of it is redundant like any rubric. The rubric specialist from the NSF told us to describe this as what a good rubric works like a staircase. The difference between a 5 and a 4 should be the same amount of work as a 4 to a 3 on the way down. It just becomes less and less refined in terms of what it's looking for, and subsequently the scores go down. So this is one way to access the verbiage of the rubric for letter A, for presentation and justification of the problem. Another resource that's there for students and has been invaluable for judges as well is the one right above the rubric, and I mentioned reflective questions. This is where they're hiding. It even starts with, did you offer the reviewers of this portfolio? And then there's this little down arrow that opens that up, and you can see some bullet points. Now this was pulled from the verbiage of the rubric, but turned into reflective questions. Did you offer them a clear and concise problem statement that offers cause-effect phrasing? Did you offer them evidence of the problem, justification of the problem that is timely, that is not from several decades ago, but is timely and to the point? And if it's not, or if they didn't, then their scores go down. Basically, telling students, if you're aiming at these bullet points that we put here, you're getting closer and closer to that 5. And we know that these questions are great for students, great for teacher conversations in the classroom around the rubric, and also are great for judges. So I wanted to show you and take a moment to show you where to access those for each of these. There's one more resource that I'd like to share with you that is available for each of these elements. That is a great teaching tool, and again, also helpful if you're a judge. Not required, but it's there if you need it. If you look at the bottom of this panel, there's a lot in this panel. If you look at the bottom of this panel, there's a title here that says Scored Element Examples. Over the past 3.5 years, almost 4 years now, as part of the NSF grant, with student permission, we've been pulling projects from the university level, from the high school level, middle school level. We redact all the names. They bring mostly university professors who teach engineering design together to use this rubric, and they use the inter-rater reliability studies. So you never know who you're grading, but they grade against the rubric as you will be doing. And when dozens of professors come to an agreement that, oh my gosh, this is what a 3 looks like. This is, they all came to the same conclusion, different times and points. We're allowed, we have taken those examples and put them back on the innovation portal as teaching tools. So Right here I've highlighted 3 for the element rubric, and down below here to access an example of a 3, I'm going to click on that. It opens a new tab. So if you draw your attention to the top of the screen, it didn't jump you away from the portfolio, it just opened a new tab and then opened the document. And I just want to offer these to you. I'll explain just one. We have people who access them from time to time or not at all. I just wanted you to know that they were here. What you get in these word examples is a summation of what all of the reviewers who looked at that portfolio and found it to be a 3, what they said, why it was a 3, why it wasn't a 4, what they could have done better. You get to, then there's where it fits in the structure of the engineering design process, the actual wording of the rubric. But we're after this down here. Here's an example, and I'll explain this one to you because it's interesting just to give it context. This is what one group had done. Their project was about the LED lights that go into our signal lights, the stop and go lights. It turns out that there is a very well justified problem with LEDs. They were put in place to save municipalities money in terms of the electricity, and they do unless you live in the north. And if you live in the north where there's inclement weather, especially freezing weather, it turns out there's a huge problem that nobody had thought of would be a problem in the first place. The LED lights, the old incandescent bulbs would give off enough heat to keep the lenses clear. So they'd actually heat up the lenses, and if you had sleet and light snow and freezing rain, that kind of thing, it wouldn't accumulate on the lens. Because the LEDs produce almost no heat, that accumulation can gather up kind of quickly and causes lots of accidents. So municipalities that have this issue spend more money having trucks go out and literally clean the lenses with by hand than they are saving in the electricity. And so it seems if you have a good idea for this, by the way, I think your house in Malibu is waiting. But these students submitted articles and article summaries. Here's one in 2010, potential hazards. This is an accident report. I'll scroll on down more and try to describe what I'm doing as we go. This is some excerpts of interviews they had with traffic engineers. There's one here in Wisconsin for this one. This particular municipality tried 2 different products and nothing helped. So it's still an issue. And as you go on down, they've submitted more and more articles and research to show that this is a current problem that needs a solution. And then I will stop on this picture that shows a really good example of the problem. So the point of showing you this is that this was found to be a 3 relative to the rubric. And as a judge, if you need this resource, it's there for you. They were certainly used quite extensively in the classroom as well. Okay, so I took quite a bit of time on letter A. I just wanted to show you how to access all this. But once you get the structure of how to access the verbiage of the rubric online, or again on paper, my next order of business is to show you the scoring sheet. And the scoring sheet, if you'll draw your attention to the lower right-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a little icon that looks like a pen quill. I'm going to click on that. When I click on that, it opens the scoring sheet right over the top of the student's work. I still have my wheel mouse going on this end, so you can scroll the work up and down behind the sheet. But if you're working on a small laptop screen, it's maybe too much for the screen real estate. So you can, at any time, just reduce the screen, read, and then open it back up. This is where you enter your scores and comments for this element A. So here I am in element A, and right here it says choose your score. And I will offer this as a judge directly from the NSF rubric specialist. The rubric is a best fit rubric, meaning if what you read and somebody has everything there it's perfect for a 2. Everything is easily a 2. But it's kind of getting into the 3. It's definitely not a 4. But if it doesn't meet all the criteria of a 3, but its best fit is a 3, in your opinion, then it's a 3. If it just barely climbs into a 3, on your opinion, then it's a 2. The words best fit came out over and over again in terms of the rubric specialist, saying it doesn't have to meet every criteria. If it meets most of what a 3 is, then it's a 3. And to find that, you can access the rubric wording again, either by hovering over the tab like the students do, or we've put it in here for you as a judge in this little plus symbol. It gives you a little floating rubric and you can read the words, and as you're honing in on, well, this is either a 2 or a 3, I want to see those again. So I'm going to read the 2 and then go, you know what, these guys get a 3. So I'm going to leave a 3 there, and I'm going to say, okay, I think it's a 3. So I'm going to actually choose a 3 here. And then this part down here where I have some typed gibberish, I'm just going to delete it. This is where you can add your comments. If you have advice for the students, or if you want to comment on what they could have done better or what they did do well, it's not required, but you can add your comments here. I'm going to type some gibberish because I want you to see what this looks like in the summary page, where you get to look at it beforehand. Also, earlier I mentioned you could stop anytime and come back. Again, this whole system, as you've been watching it, has been saving every few microseconds. So if I get up and leave and log off my computer, when I come back, I could start right from here again. So that's what it looks like to score letter A, and I took a time to show you all the resources with letter A, but the same resources are there for the rest of the elements. Some of these elements are you grade very quickly, some take a little bit longer. Another piece of data that seems relevant at the moment, if you're new to this judging, the judges report back to us that on an average, a portfolio, the first one always takes longer to get used to the system. Will take about 50 minutes to an hour, and the rest of them take an average of 45 minutes, and that's even going back and forth and considering what's there. So and that may be conservative relative to the portfolios you get. You may be grading them much faster than that, but not much longer than that in terms of even a very robust portfolio. So here's letter B, and letter B has the same resources available for you. I won't go into these, but I do want to, I'm going to enter a score here. Let's give them a 4 on that one, and we have some gibberish, the letter G over and over again here. I wanted to show you that. So that's how you grade B, on down to C, and it walks through the design requirements, presentation and justification of design requirements, what should your design do and why, as you mouse over C, D, your concept generation, tell us the story of the entire design process as you go down. I do want to draw your attention and make special note of elements M and N. When you click on elements M and N, it says no content available. Actually, the students couldn't put any content there, and that is of special note to you as a judge. M and N, when you read the rubric, we should have some big statement there that, like, nothing, these are holistic grades. So the artifacts that the students will be submitting, they'll only be submitting from A through L. There's only going to be pictures and graphs for you to look in those. Element M essentially asks, relative to the presentation of this portfolio, could somebody else pick up this work and continue it? Did you describe it well enough? Or did you just write it for yourself? There's the wording of the rubric is basically how well did you document your work so somebody could take it and go with it. That's a very important point in engineering. Element N is all about audience. Did you consider, if you put a graph out there, did you explain it? If you used lots of acronyms, did you explain what they were for? If you kind of set a measurement, did you explain why that was important? In other words, did you consider your audience? And if you didn't, then you get a lower score, and if you did, you get a higher score. So M and N are holistic grades. I'm going to grade N there and give them a 4, and again, we'll have some other grades over here. So M and N, holistic grades, but they are grades that we would ask that you submit. And then once you've gone through A through N, if you, the judge, would like to jump to another portfolio at the moment, this is the time to do that. Or if you'd like to just see what it looks like, I'm going to back that one up just a bit. At the top of the screen, I forgot to draw your attention there, is the complete review button. If you click on that, it gives you something like a Amazon summary page. Do we have your order right kind of thing? Same idea here. We've condensed it into a summary. You can see the 3 that I gave and the gibberish I typed, the 4 that I gave and the gibberish I typed. And as a judge, it's a great way to look at this. If you see any question marks, it means you didn't enter a score. So you may want to go back and enter a score for that, even if it's 0, just to make sure. A question mark, by the way, will default to a 0 score. So if a student deserved a 0, then give them a 0. If they deserve the higher grade, this gives you a clue that it wasn't entered, and you can go back and do it. And as you go down, I'm going to go down here. You can see in elements M and N, I put a 4 and a 4 there. And if this all looks great to you, this is like I said, like ordering on Amazon. This is exactly what I want to submit to the student. At the bottom, you see this statement. The statement is meant to be straightforward. As soon as you click this radio button that says "I understand and wish to complete this review," all it's telling you is that we're going to lock your grades for this portfolio into stone. Pat will then be able to see them, and they will be automatically averaged into the scores of the other judges. You'll be able to access them at any time. You just won't be able to edit them. So if you are the judge who wanted to be very fluid about everything and turn it at the end, make sure you don't hit complete review at the moment. But if you do hit complete review, I won't do it here, but if you do, it would enter the scores, and when you come back, you would be able to see the summary, you'd be able to see the students' work, you'd be able to see your grades on everything, and compare it to the other portfolios you're looking for. So that's kind of a look at the interface. The goal was to show you how to access your portfolio. So we're going to go a quick review, if you would. You go to Opportunities. Again, the Wisconsin Engineering Design Competition will be listed in past. Click on Wisconsin Design Competition and the word Reviews, and you see your name and the portfolios assigned to you underneath. That's how you access them, or you look in your bucket, if you were. You click on I'll click on New Carbon Anode here, and when we click on one that we've graded before, you can always access the student work, but at the top you would say Review Summary, and I can review the scores that I had submitted for this, but as you can see, I can't resubmit it again. It's all been locked in stone. So that's how you access the portfolios and the grades that you've been given before. And then the third major part of the training was to at least demonstrate how you access the scoring sheet and then submit those scores to Pat. So I want to jump back over to the PowerPoint for just a second, just so I can my email and Pat's email in front of you. But now is a really good time to find out if any of the things that I presented were unclear, or I should reiterate some of them, or if I've generated any new questions for all of you. So let me have now. You can type them into the chat screen, or just jump on the audio and ask away. Okay, straight A's for this class. That's it. That's all. That's the grade. Well, if it all seemed to make sense right now and is clear, and that was the intent. But if you do get into the scoring process, if you have any technical issues, we started off the training session. There's somebody I have to help get connected. We'll make sure that works. If you have any technical issues, if you have questions about the rubric, I've been in all of the conversations with all of these college professors about the rubric and its history. If that is an issue, please feel free to email me at any time. If you have questions about the competition, about the culminating event, about the students, the school, you can email Pat at any time. Both of us will be monitoring the competition throughout the entire judging window, and we're there to be a resource for you if you have questions or any issues, and to address them as quickly as we can. Pat, I guess if there are no questions, or if questions come up, please interrupt us. But Pat, do you have any?
Just to follow up, I want to thank everyone for your time this afternoon. Following this GoToMeeting, I will send you a PDF of the complete grading rubric. Once we consolidate the YouTube video for this meeting, that link will be sent to you. Once your bucket is full with portfolios, I will send you a reminder email that everything is ready for you to go. Again, the judging window is June 15th through July 15th, and I would ask that you judge the portfolios based on how well the team has completed the elements of the rubric, not on the idea or problem. And I think Mark has shared some tidbits from previous judges, And I will reiterate, we are here to support you. We thank you so much for being a part of this competition for our students here in Wisconsin. And please do not hesitate to call or email with any concern.
All right.
Again, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll just leave we'll leave the line open as you drop off. If anybody has any questions, we'll just kind of answer them in a very kind of relaxed fashion, like hanging out in class when hang out.